Real Madrid 2, Barcelona 1. Pretty interesting Clasico. Guys, before we get into some of our takeaways, we are, of course, going to recap what we saw. Both Jose and I have some takeaways from the game. We'd love to know what you guys learned down below in the comments. And, of course, if you want to see more La Liga content here on the channel, make sure you are subscribed because we'll be back with more La Liga stuff covering both the domestic league but also European competition. And smash the like button if y'all could. Jose, I'm going to let the fan full transparency for any new viewers on the channel. And when I was watching this game today, I think it is fair to say this actually was somewhat of an ass whooping. Would you agree or disagree?
Um, yeah, I'd be inclined to agree. I think if you watch the game and you really look at the phases of the game, the opening 30, the middle, the middle part, including the first 10 minutes of the second half, and then of course how it all ended. Yeah, 2 out of those 3 were dominated by Madrid, and I don't use that word lightly. Too many fans today are reactionary and throw dominant out there too easily. I do think Madrid had a dominant performance. And it came down to for the first 15, 20 minutes, everyone saw it. They were just up for it. Pride was on the line, I think, in a weird way for them. It felt like this was bulletin board material. They had, and we could talk about the Lamine Yamal thing before the game, but I mean, it wasn't so much that Barca came out and just did not play, did not perform. They did, I think, to an extent, but it felt like a very naive performance in comparison to what Madrid threw out there today, despite the opening mistakes that we saw from both teams, to be honest. So we can talk about it more in depth with other questions, but to answer your question, yes, I'd be okay with and comfortable with anyone saying that Madrid dominated this performance today.
Yeah, I don't think this was a historic defeat, something that we need to form songs about, in the El Clasico on October 26th, 2025. But I do think that while I was watching, I'm like, I don't know if Barca has an excuse for this game. And if there's one thing that I think embodies that, it's Szczesny in goal for Barcelona. He made 9 saves in this game, including the penalty, which we don't need to go into that. I don't think it was a penalty on Eric Garcia. I don't think it's a handball, but whatever they called it, and Szczesny stepped up. He had a beast of a game. I mean, when your goalkeeper's making 9 saves, some of these, he had one on Rodrigo that was ridiculous. He had one on Jude that was ridiculous, and you still lose. I mean, imagine if Szczesny wasn't on one today. We could have been looking at,
A historic
4-1, a
Yeah.
historic result. Yeah, and something that could have maybe done permanent damage to Barcelona's title chase, which maybe we can talk about that now. Obviously, Real Madrid 5 points clear now. But I want to ask you, besides Szczesny, do you think anybody else on Barca is walking off the field today with a stock up, with their honor intact?
Stock up, honor intact, no. There are some performances that I think were um they at least met and it's crazy to say, right? But at least met my floor in terms of what I needed to have happen with the squad that we knew we had coming into this game. At least meet my floor, right? And in a lot of ways in the first half, that was not happening anywhere across the board.
Who was the worst defender of that? Who's the worst defender of not reaching your floor?
Lamine Yamal. I think Lamine Yamal is, bro. Okay, I'm going to say this as plainly as I possibly can. I'm going to hold Yamal to the same standard I would hold any teammate back in the day. If you're going to give a team bulletin board material, you have to walk that walk as hard as you talk that talk. Absolutely, at a bare minimum, you understand that coming in. And it felt very, I'm going to go back to the same word I used earlier, naive. It felt like, hey, we're going to do exactly what we did last season. I'm going to come in. They're going to give me space. I'm going to cut in, just do what I want with the ball. Courtois is not going to make the save, and we're going to win this game again. And it didn't feel like it matched it from the opening minute. Carreras got around him so easily in the first 30 seconds of the game when he was trying to press from the front. And since that point, the press was never what it really needed to be from his side for the remainder of the first half. I think he's the biggest defender of that. But I do think that there are just certain players that I think did what they could to an extent, needed more help. And we talked about this so much, Jack. We talked so much about leading from the front. In order for the high line to work, you have to be aggressive from the front. Each one of the 3 pieces, no one can be left out. And whether it was Varane barely coming back, maybe Marcus Rashford, I don't know, just having too many minutes lately, who knows, right? But it felt like we were tired. 5 minutes in, we were pressing well. After that, it disappeared. So Yeah, it's tough, bro. Madrid dominated this. I'm not going to shy away from it. I think if you're going to talk about your teams on the internet, you got to be able to take the punches across the chin. And yeah, we took one. Season's not over. I will say that confidently. We turned
No.
around a 10-point deficit last year. Season's not over. So yeah, bro, it is what it is. They got their pride back. Madrid got their pride back. The next Clasico is going to be fire. But we still have to. We got a long way to go to getting our players in and getting back to the level that we had last season.
You said something very important earlier. You said for those who actually watched the game. And I think those words are very important because I checked everybody's favorite app, FOTMob, and they have Carreras as the second lowest rated player on Real Madrid, which I think is just laughable. I thought he was
Laughable.
great today. I don't know about you,
I
but
agree.
I mean, one of the mini narratives this offseason was, okay, everybody remembers the epic Benfica games in the Champions League and the Carreras versus Lamine Yamal battles and how fun they were and how terrible Benfica were when he missed the second leg and Lamine Yamal basically just ran rampant and torched Benfica. And now he's had another good performance, the kryptonite potentially for Lamine Yamal, this time with Real Madrid. I mean, I think this is one of the best Carreras games I've seen in a Madrid uniform.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with anything you said there. I think if you compare it to a performance, again, for those who actually watch the matches, I'll go back and look at the Nuno Mendes performance against Bukayo Saka in the Champions League. It's like Saka had moments, right? He had little cuts in here and there, a shot on goal every now and then, but for the most part, nothing extremely dangerous coming from his side, and that's what it felt like today. I think Carreras from the opening minute was up for this one, and it's not like he prevented every Lamine Yamal opportunity. Someone that good is always going to get their chances, but it's a matter of minimizing the risk. And bro, he gave his backline so much time to get back. He delayed well. Bro, almost every pass in the first half went backwards. Lamine Yamal almost always went square or backwards. Very rarely actually went to go take him on. And I will say, I can't remember who the interior midfielder was that was next to Carreras for a lot of it.
Tchouaméni, I think
It might
most
have
of
been
the time.
Tchouaméni, but I think he
Yeah.
closed well. I think he
He
also
had a
helped
great
that
game
as
too.
really, really well. He was up for this as well. The whole team from Madrid side. It was a massive learning moment for Barca, I think. But yeah, Carreras, man, deserves his flowers. Anybody who's saying that, he got torched in some ways by Lamine Yamal, he did not. I'm not going to go as far as saying he absolutely clamped him down, but he had a fantastic game. I don't know what anybody else has to say that would really refute that.
Yeah, I don't know what else people are expecting against Lamine Yamal. I mean, that's about as good as it's going to get. Would you say Jude was the man of the match, or would you give to somebody else?
You know what, man? Up until he came out, Vinny was cooking, man. I look, man, as someone
Mm.
who's had several issues with how maybe he's conducted himself at the bare minimum, I thought he had a great game. I thought he was, and I think we should talk about it. I would really, really, really be curious to hear what Andre has to say, but I think he was right
He's
to feel
hammered
the
in a
way.
pub somewhere. He's not.
Yeah,
He's not
that's
equipped
fair.
to speak on this
That's
game.
fair. Yeah, absolutely. Do you, man? Celebrate. I'd be the same way. But yeah, I think he was right to feel the way he felt when he came off, because for me, he was having a man of the match performance. And Mbappe, of course, going to get all the flowers for having the goals. But dude, Vinny created so much havoc on the left side. He was torching Koundé all throughout the 60, 70 minutes that he was in, to be honest. Like, I really can't think of a moment where I didn't feel threatened by Vinny. Bellingham got a goal too, but again, I think it was more of a lack of assignments and defending.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was Vinny, and I'm curious to hear how you feel about his reaction, the tantrum he threw to go down to the tunnel. Like, was it too much? Is it what we should just expect from Vinny and how much of a superstar he is?
It's an interesting thing because I actually took away more from Koundé than I did from Vinicius in this game.
Mm,
Because according to this websites that I could find, Koundé was dribbled past 4 times in this game
he looks slow.
by Vinicius, and I would urge anyone to go back and find another game in which Koundé was dribbled by 4 times. I mean, there are players that will go a month without getting dribbled past. I mean, or maybe it happens once. 4 times in a single game for a guy that we thought was pretty much locked up, best right back in the league, best, second best, and third best right back in the league were all Jules Koundé last season. And it is just so obvious that he's taken, I'm not even going to say a little step back anymore. I'm going to say like a concerning step back. And I'm going to attribute that to fatigue. I don't think he forgot how to play footy, but I mean, this is a problem for Barca that we talked about, like with the squad and kind of like depth. Now that there's some injury issues with y'all as well, like the team clearly cannot play the same way 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah.
And if I want to have a hot take to piss off the Barca fans watching this and possibly you, this doesn't look like a trophy winning team. It looks like something that's like you guys are going to peak really hard, and then you're going to dip the next season, kind of while you recover, and then you're going to hit a high again, and it's just going to repeat. I'm expecting more like roller coaster with this type of play style.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting topic to really like peel the layers back on. I will say at this moment in time, I can't disagree with you. Like I don't think this looks like for a number of reasons, right? People say, "Oh, we only lost 2-1. It was away at the Bernabeu." Yeah, I get all that, but at the same time, and the stats will also support that Barca's having a very similar season to last season. That's why I think the stat merchants are almost kind of just lying to themselves. You have to watch the matches.
That's why you got to watch the games.
Yeah, there's more apparent holes in this team than were apparent last season. And I think the biggest one goes back to the episodes we were running on this show in the offseason. My biggest need, despite the fact that I knew Ter Stegen needed to be replaced with Johan Garcia, was right back. Like I knew it would be, not necessarily because I expected a drop off this big from Koundé, but because, dude, he's human. You just can't put this many miles on the car and expect it not to break down at some point. Like it will. And I'm not. And the big moment for me in this game, if anybody saw it, there was a moment Vinny got the ball on the left wing. It was just late in the second half, and like I think he did a slight stutter. Right, he does this pretty often. And when he did, Koundé was cemented. Like he didn't even try to get back up and run with him. He was gone. And I felt like at that moment, dude, he's not 100% right. And I know he just came off of already starting the season with a couple injuries. That is what it is. He was good enough to start in this game. I know he wasn't match fit, but man, he just looked so much slower than we're used to seeing him. It's a pretty big drop off right now. So, and now we're made to pay for it. The only hope we have, I think, to put a bow on this is, I think, January. I think, finding a way to get Ter Stegen loaned out. Potentially, I mean, it's probably gonna be a loan. I don't think it's gonna be a purchase, and use those funds to try and get a right back, someone to relieve the duty.
Yeah, there's also that penalty that ultimately got waved off, like in the second minute, where Vinny just cuts in on Koundé, and it's like way too easy, man. I mean, it was like this is not what you expect from like one of the best defensive right backs in the world. It was just like Swiss cheese all game, and it was really concerning. And to put some respect on Vinicius as well, I said in our player rankings video, which is out now, we rank the top 20 players in the league right now on current form, that the best Vinicius performance I had seen this season, I was really waiting on this, was the Villarreal game where he completely embarrassed Santiago Mourinho and just cooked him all freaking game. And this is a guy, Mourinho, who with the fall off of Koundé this season, I was like, maybe he is the best right back in the league. And then it's just, hilariously, the right back that's done the best against Vinicius is Marcos Llorente. That's the best performance that I've seen this season. And, these games are happening like recently, consecutively for Vinny. So maybe he's finding his form. I want to ask you, though, because there's one Real Madrid player that I think, possibly because of his nationality, gets a lot of love, and I think it's a bit over the top, and that's Arda Güler. I thought, dude, once again, a horrendous error.
Yeah, bad. It's bad.
To give you guys the goal. And, dude, this happened against Atleti. He gave away a penalty. So he had the error here today. Penalty he gave away against Atleti, ripped at midfield against Marseille when they won 2-1 in the Champions League.
Yep.
Like, these are three of probably the toughest games, three of the top 4 toughest games of the season. He's at a grave error in every single one.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying Güler sucks, but like, I feel like we need to chill a little bit. We need to not give into the Turkish clout and just like recognize he's still a young player with a lot of responsibility. And he's just this, best 10 or whatever. No, he's not close to that right now.
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, no taking that away from him. He's a good player. He's a good player. I think we all wholeheartedly agree. I think there's a lot of just defense of Güler at the end of the day because he was the wonder kid, right? He was even that whole saga between when he chose Barca or Madrid, like all of that plays into this. But bro, that was a horrendous error. And I remember thinking at that time, like that's one of those errors that can easily, if a team's motivated enough and has the pieces, of course, but this can snowball into something, right? It takes one of those mistakes to get pounced on before momentum just shifts entirely and you let a team back into the game when rightfully with a dominant performance like they were having up to that point, was not supposed to be the case. So, yeah, man,
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I'm not gonna go as far as saying he's not a big game player. I think that'd be harsh, but bro, we got a few big ones coming up, right? Yeah, I mean, if there's a moment to really redeem himself, it's at Anfield. No, I feel like that's going to be something that Madrid fans should be watching for, because if he has another one of these, or even just like a flat, stale performance, I don't know, man. Questions got to start being asked, I think.
I think he's a big game player with Turkey, but I don't think he's a big game player with Real Madrid. I don't know how we can say that. Like, we just don't have enough data points. I mean, this guy was a
Maybe.
rotation piece last year. How many big games has he been a starter in for Madrid? 6? I
Yeah,
mean, like, we don't have a
yeah.
big sample size yet.
Not a huge sample size, right? But I think kind of goes out the window with this fan base. No, I don't think you're ever given time
That
or
I agree.
patience. Yeah, I don't
That I
think you're ever given
agree.
the time. If you're in the starting lineup, you really need to find a way to have those moments and take advantage of them. Otherwise, I mean, it's not going to be long before the talks really start around moving him on.
It would be wrong if I didn't interject my own club into this discussion. What do you think it means that Xabi Alonso loses 5-2 in the Madrid derby, a historic defeat against Atleti, and then wins his first El Clasico?
Um, I think it's great for Xabi Alonso. He needed this for a number of reasons, man. It's not even just like the rebounding from the Madrid derby. I think if you actually go back and talk to anybody who watches Bundesliga, and specifically, study Leverkusen, his time at Leverkusen, there's a lot of criticism around his big game mentality. As a manager, maybe has a little bit of pep in him where he's making unnecessary changes because he overthinks things.
Mm.
So I think, he kind of went with tried and true in this game. I felt that way when the lineups came out, and he was rewarded for it at the end of the day. So I think this is a big maturing point, probably to an extent, for Xabi Alonso, his first season at a gigantic club. And yeah, man, he needed this one. I think he really needed this one. And it's scary as a Barca fan, because now, with that proof in the pudding, so to speak, I mean, they could springboard this into a chain of points that they just collect, and we have to find a way to keep up.
Yeah, what's scary for me is that we won the Madrid derby and we're 11 points behind. Like, that is crazy.
Imagine if you has not
Um,
won it, right? Imagine where the league is right
yeah.
now.
Yeah. They're on 30 potentially, 8 points above y'all, and we're in 10th place behind Sevilla. So that would have been a terrible alternate reality that I'm glad we're not living in. Although, to be fair, we're not really that far off that from happening. I mean, if Betis win today and Atleti, if we lose, then yeah, it's back to absolute peakness with Espanyol in 4th. But yeah,
Jesus.
it'll be interesting what the title race looks like, because we kind of had this discussion last year where it felt like Atleti were just completely out of it early on. This season, you guys are 5 points behind. Villarreal are 7 points behind, but Champions League football, Espanyol are in 4th. They're 9 points behind. It's completely unrealistic to think that they can maintain this form. And then you got Atleti and Betis on 16 points, 11 points behind, and then Athletic Club are dead. Like, I don't know. Are you excited about what this title race is looking like the rest of the year? Do you think it lacks drama? I think we can end it there unless you have another talking point.
No, no, no. I think that I don't think it lacks drama. I think that right now, going into this game, there was a certain ceiling that we thought this Barca team had going into this, but it was a very pivotal game for the title charge, and we lost it. So now we're on the back foot. I think what's going to make or break the headlines the rest of the way through will be Madrid's campaign in Champions League. I think what will have to happen for them to maintain course in La Liga is they have to get the results they need while feeling confident in that European competition. Otherwise, I think they're gonna mentally potentially breeze past some of these games they should win in La Liga, and that's where the drop points could come in. That's where Barca could close the gap. Keep in mind they still have another Madrid derby, still another Clasico to be played, so there's still potential to shift points there. It could have more drama, and I'll be honest, bro. With the chatter before the game, I still don't understand what certain fans were expecting from these two teams' fan bases, or even the players themselves. Anybody who had a massive problem with the Lamine Yamal talking points beforehand, bro. Prime Mourinho Pep era was infinitely worse than this, and it doesn't even come close to that. So I don't know. It could use more drama, in my opinion, and so I'm waiting to see what happens, but. I still think we're very much in it. We turned around a 10-point deficit last year. I don't see we can't do it again.
Fans make no sense, and I accepted that long ago, where everybody wants these heated rivalries. that feel like they mean something, but then they also want a completely sanitized personality from all the players involved. And it's like, do you guys not realize those cannot coexist?
Yeah.
You do not have heated rivalries if, everybody's, slapping each other on the ass but in the tunnel before the game. That's not what creates a heated environment. And it's painfully obvious. A lot of people never played sports. And I hate to pull that card, but y'all never played sports. And it shows. And that's fine. But just don't pretend like you know and understand the dynamics of why one team hates the other with every fiber of their being. Because you don't. And you cannot have that. And then after the game, they get on Xbox Live together and play Call of Duty. That's not what these guys are doing. I guarantee you, Carreras and Lamine Yamal are not going to be in the same server tonight. Like, damn, dude, you really locked me down earlier today. No, that's not that's not how this works.
Yeah, bro. There's no moral high ground in football, period. But even more so in rivalries. Like, there's never any moral high ground. I expect shithousery on both sides. At the end of the day, the pitch gets the talking gets done on the pitch. So, Madrid drew first blood this season.
Yeah,
I'm fucking ready to play him again in whatever competition now. I mean, I'm fired up, but bro, we got to figure this team out. I think with these injuries, bro, the gaps. At some point, we really got to have a talk about in a future episode about the gaps in this Barca team, because I was looking at the lineup today, and bro, we have 0 impact players on the bench. It's actually insane right now. So
it's insane. Yeah, the bench is dead right
it's looking rough. It's looking like if our starting 11 does not get it done, brother, we're in trouble.
I'll be honest. I think there's pressure on the rest of the league to namely Villarreal and Atleti. I don't think Betis with Isco out have this pressure, but there is a pressure to say, hey man, Barcelona are like kind of teetering right now. You got to take advantage. I mean, let's say the next 8 games go by and, Barca's some of your firepower like Rafinha are still coming back, still recovering from injuries. And we're recording on match day 17. And Atleti are still 7 points behind. Villarreal are 5 points behind. Nobody has covered any ground. I think that's embarrassing.
Huge missed opportunity. Huge missed opportunity. Yeah, I think they will close the gap somewhat. I think it's going to come more from guys like Villarreal. I think Atleti, bro, right now, if I'm Atleti, we don't have to make it about them, but there's so much on your plate. I don't know how much you worry about anybody else, but yeah. I think that a super important storyline to follow is like what happens now with the rest of the table. The rest of the teams are in and around Barcelona or the top 4 in general, and whether or not they can take advantage.
God, we have Betis away tomorrow, so that's a guaranteed 2-2 draw. I actually have 0 confidence we're going to win that game, man. Betis away, not a chance. Actually, they're going to win 2-1. Guys, we're going to end the video there, though. That's our El Clasico recap. We will be back doing similar videos like this for other big games in La Liga throughout the season. And, of course, we're going to have more like mini narratives talking about Xabi Alonso and assessing his first season, things like that. Sprinkled in between. So if you guys want to see that and all the other La Liga content, including European competitions, make sure you are subscribed. Smash the like button if you enjoyed this episode. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments, and we'll see y'all in the next one.